Hello, and thank you for joining us today at Finding the Healer Within. We hope this recording finds you in an abundance of grace and ease. Remember to follow us on Facebook at Finding the Healer Within. This podcast works as a resource for all who seek connection to their ancestral roots by connecting you with a variety of curanderos, teachers, guides, and facilitators of healing. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us here at Finding the Healer Within. We're right back here at Houston Aztec Massage today with the owner of Houston Aztec Massage, Energy, and her apprentice, Kenya. So how are you ladies doing today?
Good. We're doing great.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
Happy to be here.
That's great. You guys have grown a lot since the last time we've been here. And you guys now have a new room so now you have 2 rooms for massaging.
Yes.
That's awesome. So how has everything changed with having an apprentice? Do you have more time for yourself? Are you able to get more clients?
We are working on having more time for myself. I have not flew away yet. I'm still here holding it down. I'm still teaching my apprentice a lot. It eventually will get to a point where I can fly away and have my own time and things like that. I'm looking forward to it.
That's
sure.
awesome.
For sure, yes. Yes, so I do get a lot of help. I do. I'm able to help a lot more people more at the same time than if I was here by myself, for sure. Yeah. She's a really big help, especially when we're together in a session and I need help with a person's body, by stretching them out and holding them in place or something like that. When we do real deep work, she's always helping me out with that. And apart, she's stronger than I am. She's physically. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it helps. It definitely helps out.
So you not only can you get more clients in, but you can also extend the services that you give to each client.
Yeah.
Putting 2 bodies on one person.
Right. When it's 2 of us. Yeah. It's a different place too. It's not your average spa place where it's European style that a lot of people are more used to, that modernized type of European style.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little piece of Mexico is what I try to put my root into with the actual feeling when you walk in. Sometimes it can be intimidating for people, as well as I can intimidate the person or the just the space because it's so different. I do have people come in and that they're whoa, what is this? And there's a lot of people who are very Christian and they walk in and they see the Aztec sculptures that I have and they think it's the devil. So
Yeah.
so that can play a part of being intimidating for certain people. There's skepticals of it being brujeria or being bad because I'm using wings, I'm using rattles.
You use the wings for is blowing the smoke and stuff like that?
Blowing the smoke and also to bless a person or cleanse them off. So I do use a lot of natural elements when it comes to animals like that, like you saying, the wings, feathers, and I also use the herbs and then the crystals and stones. So it's all nature, all part of nature that I use. I do not do brujeria. This is not what I do.
This is all just
I don't do
manipulation.
There's been people that I've worked on and they are having out of body experiences on my table and I give them nothing to drink. I give them absolutely nothing to take. I basically it's coming in sometimes and getting worked on by me. It's I will help guide you to your higher self, and sometimes it causes other factors to weigh in, your own personal traumas that you weren't aware of. And so I help make these things aware to where you can feel it, see it, and allow your emotions to just process it while I'm guiding you and making sure that you're in a safe environment, in a safe place.
Yeah.
I do, once again, I don't give you anything to drink, but I'm basically like the ayahuasca itself.
And
take your ass to a journey.
And these people come in with those like barriers and belief and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How do they leave here? Like, what's their experience?
So I get a lot of people who are intimidated, like I said, but because I'm also really good with people, and I'd rather much be like on a one-on-one session more than a whole group, because I am pretty shy when it comes to like a whole group or something like that. But for the most part, I'm really good with people. So when they feel uncomfortable, I make sure, you know, I take it step by step and not like blow their mind away with like a reading or something that they're not prepared for, or they're not even ready for. If they don't believe it, then in these things, like, at least I'm able to help them in a physical way. So I mean, it's not forced. So yes, this is a whole tradition for me, but because I also studied everything technically and have like all my degrees and everything that I need for the massage school and things like that, it doesn't always have to be like spiritual. There's always people coming in that they just in for sports or something like that, and sometimes they come in and they're like, you know, I know she's like something, you know, but they don't know what I am, and so they will be kind of like, I don't know, I heard you're good, so I'm coming in, you know. But I always reassure them and let them know, like, this is a safe place. This is supposed to be like a home. This is a business that's a family business. I mean, my kids are here to help me, you know, so it's a very friendly environment. It's also a place where people from different backgrounds feel comfortable as well. So I try to just have a place of peace, not war. This is a place where people are invited to come in to forget about their personal problems at home and just get a little bit of peace within themselves, whether that's through just physically resting their body or just like mentally just getting a break from whatever they have going on outside of here. Because I get people who play soccer and they se rompen un tobillo, right? Or they twist their ankle, or they hurt themselves, or people who play basketball and they hurt their fingers by playing, you know, they catch the ball wrong or something, and they don't believe in none of this, but they come in because they hear that I do good work physically, so they'll come in and they'll see an immediate like change in their physical body, and they're like, wow, it helped me out a lot. So just with them experiencing it physically, they're like, wow, like this is good. Like I didn't even know I needed this type of work done. So you know, a lot of people do get surprised with coming in here. Yeah,
as an apprentice, like watching all this go down, how has it affected you as a massage therapist and what you're learning?
I just can continue to like grow. Like at this point, I don't think there's anything that like kind of surprises me except for my own growth.
Your own growth in the process of but no, you already went to school for massage therapy, right? So you're talking about in growing and
like as
an individual,
as a person, as a massage therapist, because like energy is always telling me forget what you learned at school, but like of course remember like the knowledge, but also like forget the corporate stuff, forget the
because
we're working on that.
That's part of the business aspect of it, and you guys are healers. You guys are taking people in and like changing their lives.
It took me a lot of courage to step forward and actually make a business like this, because there isn't places like this, and there is curanderas and curanderos around Houston, but they're working out of their own home. They don't really have an established business like out on the front, you know, like and so it is kind of scary, and especially in the beginning, to push yourself to say, you know, like, ¿por qué rajarme de mi cultura? Like this is part of how I grew up as well. So why be ashamed of who I am or how I was brought up? So it's definitely a journey to, even as an owner, to create this type of business. Hopefully in the future, you know, I can extend and bring more businesses and a lot more apprentices, and because even to hire a massage therapist, like Kenya was saying, I have to teach even how to let go a little bit of the corporate world, because the corporate world teaches us very technically, but does not show the therapist enough how to take care of themselves most than anything. And when you work on people, it takes a toll on yourself. And also, I always tell people, like, I'm not the healer, and I know people want to call me that, but I'm like, I'm not healing you. Like, really, it's the person who's doing the healing.
Because
all
they're
I'm doing
allowing
is
it.
guiding.
Yeah.
I'm guiding you. I'm giving you the energy that you needed to realize what you need to do next to go on your healing journey.
Also, I feel like it's like what we talked about earlier. It's like how I was kind of telling her that, you know, this place is growing, but not only is it just your magic that built it from the ground, now we're adding my magic to it. And so that's kind of what healing is too. It's like, it's your magic plus my magic, and then it just makes it even better.
So I do have to say, though, also with my experience and what I've also learned on my journey, is that we get to a point too where we're not going to be able to help absolutely everyone.
Right.
Sometimes, and I had to learn this also through my journey of my healing and of guidance and being guided by other you know, higher, well, I don't want to say higher people, but like people that I like respect as well, that are also Native Americans, right? And, you know, Creator at the end of the day has its you know, its work to do, and some people are a certain way because it's part of their journey of what they have to also carry and just deal with in this, whatever you want to call it, lifetime or whatever it is. So it's not something that we can all, this is not the place for absolutely everyone. You know, this is takes a good place in people's lives that are willing and feel it deep down inside that there is some type of healing for them, that they know and they want to feel and get better. Like, this is the right place for them.
And what I love about energy, and I feel like what any good practitioner or anything, I feel like if you can't do it yourself, you refer out. So if energy is not the right person for them, like not one shoe doesn't fit everyone, then she will like either refer you out or be like, okay, well, I can't help you, but I have someone else who can possibly help you. So maybe you don't need a massage, maybe you need this and then come back to this. But that's if you're willing to want that extra help and want to actually get to the root of it.
And that's why I was saying, like, in the beginning, I try, when I feel like they're not ready, I don't force it. I allow them to feel comfortable first and win their trust so that they can have more trust in us, so that we can then allow, or they can allow us to help them further. I don't ever force anything. I don't ever make them like go through a healing thing if they're not completely ready. And I always prepare them mentally. And sometimes when I feel like they're too nervous in the beginning, I walk them through it. I walk them like, this is what we're gonna do, you know, and I just walk them through the whole process. That way they are fully aware and their nerves are a lot more calm. You know? That takes practice too. Like, it takes a lot of practice to understand the person, body language, and things like that. Because it took me a while to understand people's body language, but that's something. It's something that definitely, like, my apprentice will learn, to where I don't have to explain to her what this person already feels when they walk in or what they're thinking.
Because she'll at some point be tuned in to that energy, right? To be able to read that.
You have to pay attention to detail. The smallest, I feel like this job makes you be more aware of other people and other people's hurt and other people's pain, to the point that when you're out in the world, like, you can already pick up and be like, oh, that person, like, you can see, like, the way that they're touching their hands, that they're like this, like, it makes you really pay attention to body language. And so it's like, you know, like, I love that, like, we give people crystals, because as soon as they start, like, holding on to those crystals, I'm like, okay, so that's, okay, I can read that, I see that, you know, this is something that's you're bracing, and you're also bracing for, but also, like, she tells them, like, give it to the crystals, or, like, just
release it into the...
I try to be very peaceful energy when the person is on a table. There's people who come to me and they're already my regulars. They already know what's going to go down. They already know what they signed up for.
They're like, all right.
They're like, all right, I'm ready, Doc. What
like,
you got?
Where are the crystals? You ain't got the crystals.
Yeah. They're like, where's the crystals at?
I'm going to need some herbs.
Yeah. They're like, what happened? You're slacking. I'm like, hold on. They're already telling me how to do my job.
Right.
Like,
because they already know the benefits of it and like how it's gonna heal them, and they're craving that healing.
People have literally walked away from this place and have come back and just be like, my life has changed totally.
Really?
And it's like, it goes back. It's like, okay, we're putting our magic into it, but the rest is your magic. And so they put so much magic into it, and they come back and they're glowing.
I mean, there was this lady that came in
awesome.
and she got trapped in the elevator for like, what, 20 minutes?
Oh no, the stairwell.
The stairway. Yeah, this, not the elevator. The stair. This lady I'm talking about, she was banging on the door like she was dying in there. Like, she was like, let me out.
And then us, we just scrolling and
we're like, what's going on? I was like, can you hear that? And then we're like, oh, I guess today we're gonna save somebody, and I'll open the door, and she's like, oh my god, like she was like super like panic attack, like frustrated, like all these emotions, and
she must have been like claustrophobic.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay, we'll sit her down, and Kenya was like, well, what we're gonna do? And I was like, just watch, and I was just so peaceful, and I was like, I'm gonna go to the bag, get some crystals. I was like, here you go, hold this. And she was still like in her thoughts, talking about all the frustration and everything. And I went to go get some medicine, and then I turned it on, and I was saying some prayers and putting in some peaceful energy. And then it got to a moment where I was able to say some words to her, and that's when she was like, whoa, like I was not aware of all of these things. And she started to release, she started to cry, and
started to accept herself.
She started to getting some real like
and this is before you guys started the massage.
This is before we started. Like, I didn't even have to do this for her. Like, this is a whole nother session. Like, but I didn't have to do that. But because of how she got here, because of the situation, if I'm here, I'm doing this, like, I'm gonna help the person out, whatever it is that they're going through, right? So
whatever
she was going through
whatever
it.
They bring in, you're bringing them down to like a homeostasis level.
Yeah, to calm them down and let them know, like, ya pasó, like, this is something that you had to experience. Because I do get people who start to get blockages on their way here because something is holding them back from the growth.
Or we get blockages.
Or we get blockages when something is trying to stop us from seeing the person. So what happened that day, like everything, I told her some few messages. I ended up working on her. She released so much that day. She left, and then like we didn't hear from her for quite a while. And then one of her friends came in a few months later, and she's like, yeah, you remember you worked on so and so? And I was like, which one? I don't remember. Like me always, I don't remember. What does she look like, you know?
I'm a face girl.
Yeah. And then she was like, yeah, the one who got stuck. And I was like, oh, okay, well, how is she? She goes, girl, her life has been changing. She was the one who sent me over here, because since then her life has transformed. And then I was like, damn, for real? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, damn, it would be nice to hear from her, you know. She's like, yeah, she said she's gonna come in soon. And then she came back, and she started telling us how much her life has changed. And it was just because she needed to hear some words. She needed to release the tears, the pain that she was holding within, whether that was physically, whether that was emotionally, traumas, memories, things that she had going on.
And validation, just wanting to be validated by somebody.
Yeah,
girl, she ended up getting a new boyfriend, toda la cosa, girl. New job, everything started changing for her. Just because of a shift of energy in her life. That was it.
Whatever. It's still that therapy, massage therapy.
Just accepting the path of healing.
Yeah.
Is what happened that day.
That she was like, I'm done with this. I'm ready for a new chapter. And all I did was guide her what would that new chapter would be for her if she allowed herself to release. And so that's with one session.
You have to get tired. At some point in your life, you have to be tired of the way that you were living your life
in the past
to finally be like, okay, I'm changing this. I need some healing. Like sometimes you do have to get to that point where you're just like, I'm tired. Like I
want something different. Yeah, and it's. I feel like it's something that you have to deal with like periodically throughout life because we change with age, we get older. We want different things in our life. So right now, you might want
what you wanted when you were 20. You probably don't want that now.
I'm ever since I started the podcast, I feel it was the same way, and it all started here. When I came here for that plática, I wasn't even gonna mention it that day. I was like, oh, what do people want to hear about what I'm doing? And then at some point you mentioned something, and I was like, oh yeah, I was thinking about starting a podcast or something. And you're like, girl, you should do it, man. That'd be great. We can do the shows here. And I was like, oh, yeah, we could do it.
That could work out.
Remember we did talk about like having a purpose too, and that you felt like something was calling you. You're trying to find your calling too. And I told you about
it was
why you don't do, the podcast would be perfect for you to do that, and it's something that'll fit perfectly in your lifestyle that you're looking for, and you're like, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, hazlo, si se puede, si se puede.
Especially with the way
go for it, no tengas miedo, échale ganas, The reason why I got to a point where I understood that you cannot help everybody, I had gotten in touch with some spiritual people, right? Spiritual people. Mm-hmm. And they were like, yeah, we're going to be able to help you understand more and awaken more and no sé qué tanto, right?
Right.
And they seem like real down-to-earth people, but in reality, I didn't really know them. But because I was trusting the universe, I was so opened up to the universe that I allowed these people to come to my house. And it wasn't until, it was a couple, it wasn't until the guy took a gun out and laid it out on my dinner table was when I was like, whoa. Like, my whole, like, warrior spirit came within me.
Yeah. And
my mind clicked, like, and then I was like, why you have a gun on you? I was like, that took me by surprise, because I was like, if you're such a spiritual person, like, why do you need a gun for protection? Right. I didn't really know these people. Like, that made me realize, like, this shit is real. Like, you never know with people. Like, you never know. And my warrior spirit came out that, like, I don't know how, but I ended up scaring the guy who had the damn gun, and I told him straight up, like, what are you going to do with that? So I los corrí. I don't know how. I don't know how, but he hid his gun and he did not take it out. And like, I was not even afraid. I'm not afraid of you. Like, you grab your fucking gun and your wife and get the fuck out of my damn house.
Right.
And
some people just don't have no home.
And he was like, well, what happened? Like, I didn't know that was gonna trigger you. What happened to you? Because maybe you need to show me some healing, and I don't know what. And I was like, look, you know what? I don't need to teach y'all nothing. I need to stay the fuck away from y'all. I was like, don't ever come to my house. Don't ever come looking for me. Don't ever, like, I wanted to just leave that situation whatsoever. It definitely, like, brought a lot of perspective in me, like, as a spiritual journey. Like, no, but you can't trust everybody.
No,
even if they say they're spiritual, even if they say they're woke and all of this, like, I had to call in my brother, he's like a spiritual, like, dad to me, like, Tony Two Hawks. Like, I had to call him in and help me out, because my spirit was kicked in so much that I could not calm down, and I was like on the lookout, and I was like me traumó,
Yeah.
and I was keeping my kids inside, and I felt restless because of the situation that I pretty much put myself in, right? Because I thought that these were friends of a mutual friend, so I was like, oh well, they're friends, then they should be good people, right? Wrong. These were manipulating people. I don't know what they had on their agenda. I did not know what their how do you say intentions were. Like I didn't know these people. And I was like, no, hasta aquí. I'm not fucking with them no more. And yeah, Tony Two Hawks had to come and give me a barrida and everything to calm me down. And that's when he gave me those messages of, you cannot open up to just everyone. You cannot try to just open your doors to spiritual people because they seem nice. You don't know people, and I was just like, whoa, like big wake up call for me.
No, on top of that, you have Booksy to back you up of people giving 5-star reviews of the situation that they encounter here, like, and that's having, proof of the validity of what you offer. On top of that, you don't force anything on anybody.
So another thing too, we also got another customer who reached out to us, and they were having a mental breakdown. And Kenya, you were here, right, when that happened? And so I tried to ground this person as much as I could, but I had to call a family member to come in and, be aware that this person was going through this, and letting them know that they were okay, because they already knew in the house that they were having a mental breakdown, but he disappeared on everyone. So he came and looked for me. So I'm appreciated, but at the same time, again, for us, that's a very dangerous line.
Because that person is in crisis at the moment,
Like, I had to let this person know, like, if you don't ground yourself, it's a really fine line from spiritual to the physical, from the spiritual to the mental, and everyone is different. I have so many experiences that I've had with people. Some
our experiences are different from other
our
people.
Experiences that we've had. Stories for days.
And those that need healing are gonna want to find it. And sometimes
not everybody has good intentions neither.
No.
I was trying to help this lady heal, and so I let her know. This was her second time, but she brought her husband in for the first time, and it got to a point where I was able to work a little deeper on the wife, and so the husband was out here waiting in the waiting area. And she was in there with me, helping the lady, making sure the lady felt safe, making sure the lady felt like she was in a good place, like nothing bad was going to happen, She was like literally putting her hands on her and calming her down because she was crying a lot. We don't know exactly everything that's going on in the person's life because they're not going to share with us everything. But that we felt something else was going on. And so she was crying, and she was screaming, and good thing it was already close time, like everyone was out of the office because I was like, you're gonna have to keep being my last customer because you're gonna scare everyone on this building. But we worked with her and everything so that she can start allowing herself to get results, because there's some times when a person has these physical issues, in order to fix a lot of these problems, that you're gonna go through some pain to get rid of it. It's not easy to heal physically, so a lot of things you find a knot, it's gonna hurt. Like, you should see how I heal. Like, when I'm on the table, I sound like a crazy person. Like, I'm laughing, crying, kicking, screaming,
because you're allowing yourself to go through that pain,
through the emotions, to let go. And so I guess the husband was like, they're doing something to her, and this and this, and I felt someone come in and open the curtains like una fuerza, and then like I was so focused on what was going on. Like,
kind of both were, like...
We were both focused on her. So, and it wasn't my son, because my son was here. He told me it wasn't me, Mom.
Yeah.
So,
he would never do that.
So I don't know if he did or not, but, you know, with us not watching our back, something could have happened to me.
He could have, yeah. They could have,
you know.
Yeah.
And so when we were done with the session, she was so relaxed. She felt so good and everything. And he was out here and he made like little threats about, oh, I thought y'all were hurting my wife. I was about to go back there and hurt y'all. And
I didn't really undertone.
I didn't really say nothing. I put my head down because I didn't feel comfortable with him saying that when I don't even know this guy.
Right.
You know, I actually don't know neither of them, to be honest. So for me, we took about 3 hours. 3 hours. 3 hours.
Oh, like 4.
like 3 to 4 hours trying to figure out how to deal with the situation. And it was just like, it's a professional place at the end of the day, and we cannot take or tolerate no type of threats to us, specifically a man threatening 2 women. Like, you just don't do that, whether it's jokingly or not. How are you gonna go up to look for help, but then you're saying fuck you?
Yeah, it's like telling a doctor, you know, it's the same thing.
Yes.
You're telling a
the
doctor, like,
ain't
can
gonna
you
put up
fix
with your shit.
No, they're going to tell you get the fuck out.
Exactly.
Like,
and he reached out, and, you know, Kenya was like, oh, maybe we can continue to help the wife, and, you know, and you know, Kenya being real nice and sweet as she is, you know, at the end of the day, they're still the same people. They're married. She's going to go home and still have that type of pain because there might be something that's why she is the way she is. My intentions are always peace and love and taking care and nurturing the person and making sure the person feels safe. Right. So when I feel like a threat or I feel like there's some type of war that you want with me, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
I don't waste no more time there. I don't accept any of that energy. I throw it right back. Y a la chingada, cabrones. That's why I got the thick butt, because I know how to cut people off that are not good for me, especially not good for my employees, people who are going to be my staff, my family. Like, no,
of course not. It's about,
we don't deal with that kind of stuff.
No, because even though you are a guide, you choose who you can guide based on their ability to be on the healing path, their acceptance of that, as well as their acceptance of what it's going to take for you to heal.
And there's people like that all the time, and like I said, I work with everyone who, however they want to go forward. I will never work myself too much because I have to take care of myself, because I also have to go home, cook, clean, take care of my babies, you know, everything that I have to do at home. So I'm like, no. And this is something that I also teach Kenya, is that you want to help people, but you don't want to overdo yourself, like overwork yourself. That's why you have these elements. That's why you have, you know, the bandana and the faja and the crystals and things that you can wear on yourself, the aguas, the herbs, whatever it is, it's at your reach. Grab what you need to grab, you know, to put on your armor that you need so that you can work on people. And I mean, I hear stories from my maestra, that she knows a lot of curanderas and curanderos that they go through a lot, or they're suffering in pain themselves, or they just, you know, they don't get the healing that they need because they're the ones getting sick after touching so many people. So this is also a place where I want to connect with other healers too, other curanderas, curanderos, hueseros, you know, parteras, doulas, anyone else who put their hands, other massage therapists who put their hands on other people too, even people who cut hair, because they're constantly touching and cutting everyone's energy. So this is why I also extend, you know, the services to these people too, because they need a place of outlet. Just to work on me, it takes 1 hour per limb to release for me.
I don't know if y'all seen, but on TikTok, it's just funny how, like, indigenous people have been doing things for years, but apparently people on TikTok are, like, starting to actually trade things. So, like, say if you know how to woodwork and but you don't know how to knit something, but you want a knitted sweater, but you know how to woodwork. So now people are like actually trading things.
Yes.
Or like with food too.
Girl, we been
I know,
doing
that's what I'm saying. When I saw it, I was like, man.
You know, before when I was working at Docs, there was people who didn't even have anything on them, and they would just donate $5 for me to work on them sometimes. Or sometimes I'd be like, well, you don't have nothing, well, you know, I would like a little bouquet of flowers. And they'll be like, okay, you know, and they'll go get, and then, you know, so my services sometimes, like, it's more business, but when a person really, really needs and wants to get on my table, y no tienen, you know, I'm still
in need of it.
Yeah, I'm open for trades, you know.
Yeah.
I could use a little handyman around here.
Right, like, okay, you know how to do this? I don't know how to do this, so...
Yeah, I mean, I trade for tattoos all the time, so...
You know?
Like, she is the trading queen.
And that's how you do. That's how you create more community and live together
and actually
moments.
help people out more.
Yeah.
It's very important for us to get work done ourselves. Like, I mean, I can't be just talking to talk. Like, I gotta be walking the walk. I'm also going through my spiritual growth still. It becomes difficult when you work on people and they're crying and screaming because they're like releasing, but it's a lot different from them crying from the physical pain and then them crying because it's something deeper that's going on within their head. Like, you have to know the difference. Like, that's something too that you have to like be more confident in knowing when to let go of a certain area or when to keep holding that area so that they can continue. And it's a process. Like, this takes practice, like just years of just doing this. Like, there's no other way to teach this.
It's a lot of nurturing.
What has changed now with so you've gotten Kenya into the building, and before you guys just had one massage room, and now you have two
massage rooms.
So is that for like Kenya to do a client, you to do a client, or you guys?
Yes, eventually, yes. But at the same time, we are also seeing that not everyone is allowed in the healing room, the original, the OG room that we have, because because some people get in that room and they start to have like really outer body experience, I guess, because of the energy that's in that space.
So maybe one is for like deep energy healing, and one is more physical.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yes.
How you know?
Eventually, we'll get more rooms and we can expand so that we can bring a lot more for the community.
We might have a workshop room.
Because there is a lot of connections that I have too that I want to invite and also do workshops, like she's saying. But we don't have the space right now. So
but it's in the works.
We're praying on it. We're praying on it so that we can continue to grow and expand, and also, you know, eventually hire another person with us. We actually have gone through a healing journey with each other. Sometimes, you know, it's two different worlds, and so we have to we're both learning as well. So I'm learning a lot as an owner, as a boss, as management, you know. I'm also learning a lot, you know. So it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. It's fun most of the time, but then sometimes we do have a little bump in the road, and we just gotta, you know, ride it out.
Because I'm a Taurus and she's a Cancer.
And so, you know, it is what it is. And the good thing is, like, I'm able to just, I don't close myself off. Like, I might have a little bit of pride every once in a blue moon, but at the end of the day, I'm like, that's not me. I need to just really figure out the situation, how to go about it. I ask for help. I have guidance too from other, you know, people that I surround myself with, and so asking for help is never a weakness, you know. And I have to ask for help, I'm right there. Hey, I need to ask for help. You know, I don't care. I'm a crybaby, and what? I'm a crybaby. I'm a big crybaby. I'm a big crybaby. I'm a little spiritual gangster too, though. Don't get it twisted.
You know? So what is it that you're doing in LA?
What are you doing in LA?
You do this month, right?
Yeah.
In February.
On the 18th, I'm in.
you're gonna be interesting. That's on the 18th.
I know, I know.
So you're gonna be going to LA with Monica,
With Monica,
and you guys are gonna be doing like a fashion show.
a fashion show.
That's so exciting!
A
What?
gala.
And what is that? The gala surrounded by? Like, what's the theme? Or
So like the looks that they're going for this fashion show is Mexica, Chicano, Indigenous, Barrio look. So that's the style that they're trying to have. So this designer specifically, her name is Linda Belinda. We're gonna end up having a runway show out there, and it's like a red carpet gala event. It's also supporting, so we're funding for domestic violence.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and human trafficking.
that style that you have, like there's a lot of
because
people
there's a
with
lot of
that style.
Mexica people out
Exactly.
there, and in Texas is not like that. In
And then-
Texas, we don't have enough. Like we most of us are Mexica people, but we're not.
The
A lot of people are
acceptance of that is not.
They're not aware
No.
of it, and there's few danzantes here. There's not even that many. I mean, there is. But they're all separated too, because
Spread out.
Houston is also real big. Yeah, it's not like over there where like it's accepted. The style, you know, it's just
a part of
more
like what you see.
It's over there it's more natural, but here it's like not even in Mexico they don't. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's true. And what is behind the Mexican New Year? Like, what is it celebrating specifically? Just like a renewal,
a renew. Yep, a whole new year.
And then, so what happens at the Mexican New Year events, like the one that's happening?
Well, that day we're gonna have it's gonna be like for kids, where they could be able to have some like workshop for the kids.
For them to learn
And then they're gonna do planting of corn. So there's gonna be an expert, like a garden expert there, and people are gonna be able to learn how to like harvest and how to grow and how to plant and stuff. So any questions, people who are interested in gardening at home, from home, like even from the gallons, you know how they're doing that now indoors and stuff like that, you could this would be something beneficial. It's a free event, I believe. I'm not too sure, but there's gonna be an expert there, so any questions is allowed. We'll open up with the fire. We'll open up and we'll have an altar set up there. We're gonna have planting corn ceremony, danza azteca, storytelling, craft making for children, March 18th at 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. It's a good little event for people to go, especially family, you know, with kids that they're trying to connect them to with planting and things like that. That'll be good for kids too.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait to have my talk with Laura and see what they're doing in San Antonio for the Mexican New Year.
I'm actually going to be out there too. We're going to be
for San
over
Antonio.
There. Yeah, they're having a ceremony. I'm not sure what day it is. But yeah, they're gonna have one soon, and we're gonna be out there supporting them.
Oh,
too.
cool! That's badass. Hopefully,
we're gonna be traveling
go.
this year, girl.
Right?
I'll probably be taking like a few things in a bag so I can work on a few people out there while we're there.
Yeah, so you can extend.
Laura's been wanting to get on my table too, but because of how far it is, I'm like, well, maybe I'll hit her up and let her know, like, hey, I'll be taking some things if you want, or have a few people that want to get work done by me. I could work a good special for y'all while I'm over there.
Sure. Definitely, and it's all about that intermingling of communities, because the more that we create of community of the Mexica culture here in Texas, the more we'll be able to connect with our roots, which are severely severed, especially here in Texas.
They just ran a whole law about them. They're trying to take away the history behind Native American history and the Black American culture as well. Like the MLK and all that. They're trying to take all that away from the books. They already ran a whole like. It's in the law now.
They need to take away the founding fathers.
Yeah, exactly. They're literally erasing the history so they can create new ones.
Right.
So that you forget the past, and then you don't see the cycles.
Politically, because politically, a lot of us are standing up because we're starting to realize like we did get screwed over. You know, and so they're trying to take that away because the more people are understanding the truths behind, you know, how it became America. It's not going to fall good in their place.
No,
They're still
you know,
doing the same thing they did to, like, you know, our great grandparents too. I mean, colonizing us into thinking and acting and being inside the box, right? Thinking inside the box. And in some way, I mean, it's a form of control.
Can I ask,
you
what
know?
is y'all opinion on the term Tex-Mex? Do you
Tex-Mex?
like it? Do you not like it?
I can consider
what
myself.
exactly is Tex-Mex?
I can consider myself Tex-Mex. I
I mean, when I think of Tex-Mex, I think of like
Selena.
fajitas a la parrilla.
Selena era tejana.
Selena, yeah.
To me, being Tex-Mex, it means you were born in Texas, but your family is from Mexico.
Exactly.
So it's
And
like me. I was born here, but my family is from Mexico. They're not even from here. So,
Right.
I mean, I would consider myself Tex-Mex more than a Chicana. But for me, Chicana means like having generations of people being here when their people are brown, right? When they're Mexican people, like generations of being from here. But a lot of people would consider me Chicana. And I consider myself Mexican too, but to Mexicans, I might not be considered Mexican. I'm considered Americana.
Yeah, you're from the north.
I'm Caucasian to Mexicans. So, like, it's just, those are the things that our people are still struggling with is like, what and knowing like there's a broad, like, how do you say, specific names for each one of us depending on how we feel, I guess.
So when the Spaniards went to Mexico, they brought Spanish. So was Spanish always in Mexico?
Never. No, not until the colonizers came.
No, that's a European language.
Oh.
We had our own
It was
language.
Like,
one of them.
One of them, because there's hundreds.
So if they never came, then y'all
languages.
would never have speaking Spanish. Okay.
No,
that's why also it comes up in a lot of the healings too. I have to make people aware that a lot of people, their habits that they have now comes from generations.
Generational
from
trauma,
that trauma from being forced. Like a lot of our beliefs with growing up being Christian and Catholic, and because they're so stuck in being Christian, they were forced to be so in a survival way to like, because if you weren't, your whole family would be killed off. So people don't like to talk about that, and people are not ready to have that conversation or even acknowledge that. But that's truths behind that, you know. So it just depends. I mean, people, when it comes to healing, you know, that happens too, you know, understanding that. A lot of I've had people, like even my own family from Mexico, saying like, you know, why would I call myself Mexican, and why would I call myself indigenous if why don't I go to Mexico and help and do protest in Mexico when Mexico needs help? Like, I don't have the connections to do that. If I did have a presentation that'll open, I would more than likely go and help out in whichever way I can. Like I try here as well. But most of us don't have it like that, to where we can just get up and go and travel and everything. The reasons why I'm traveling this year is because it's also funded by our group as well. So it's not like I'm paying out of pocket to do these things. This is things that we've pretty much worked for to get funded for. So I just don't have the luxury to do all that. So there is a lot of people against myself, you know what I mean, of what I do and how I see myself and stuff. But I mean, I stick with my own truths, and if I feel like I'm indigenous because I know that my grandparents were indigenous, I'm gonna stick with that. And damn everyone who thinks otherwise, because this is what I've always felt as a little girl.
With all this growth and everything that you have going on, you did say something about maybe teaching massage maybe in the future?
Yes, so I do want to eventually teach. I'm still looking into what type of paperwork I need to establish that. Because what I for sure wanted to learn was the fire cupping, because I see a lot of people just seeing what I do on videos and they're trying to copy. and just go based off like where I'm
Visual.
placing my cups or whatever I'm posting on social media. And it's very risky. It's not as simple as it seems. You have to really know what you're doing, because you could really hurt yourself or hurt the other person. So I'm like, well, since people are trying to copy, and they really, I mean, there's people out there that really do want to learn. So I'm like, well, maybe I should start teaching people. But it's definitely going to come with the cost, because this is a knowledge that was passed down to me, and I respect that very much. And if I'm going to share this, it's going to be, something that's very close to me that I'm sharing. So definitely going to come with the cost.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't know who's going to come through the door. So
Yeah.
this is something like I reflect when she tells me, like, the way I teach is very detailed. It's not surface level. It's basically like me teaching you exactly how I work, what basically people like to come and get, like this type of work. So it's not like I'm just going to teach you superficial. No, I'm going to teach you exactly every single thing that I know, so that you want to write it down, or whatever it is. But that way you can make sure you're also safe, but also the person is safe, and you know exactly what you're doing for sure. Because, I mean, you can look it up online, but it's not the same to be in person and actually being taught and having a volunteer that we can work on and showing you and moving your hands for you and showing, like, it's way different. It takes time to learn.
That's what we're learning.
It'll probably be like a full day type of class that I'm probably gonna have to teach, or a few classes in order to. And it wouldn't be certified. Like, it would just be an extra, like,
just knowledge.
Yeah, extra knowledge that you have, because in Fort Fire Cupping you don't need a license as well. So this is something that anybody could come and learn. Eventually, I also want to do like classrooms, like, how you had mentioned, like of couples, to teach them how to work on each other, and also maybe learn how to work with that sexual energy too. That's something is very out of my comfort zone, because it is a very healing type of place, and people se asusta or might, mix it up with something else. But this is for like couples, to
people
help
who are
them,
already connected.
because through that sexual energy as couples, there's a lot of healing in that. Specifically, if you have that one partner to walk with on the path. So that's something else that I could definitely think of. Just doing like a workshop, with a few people, which also I'm gonna possibly come with a cost, because I'm also being a little bit more strict on myself and respecting myself and my work, as well as all the knowledge and the experience that I have in my line of work too.
I mean, that's you're not giving knowledge of like 15 minutes ago. You're giving knowledge of like your lifetime, because you learned this from your mom, and she learned it from her mother.
Yeah.
And so it's generations.
And for my mom, it was more like a gift. She was just more gifted more than anything, because I don't even think no one in her family either did this. Maybe like her abuelo, pero that was it, because her abuelo was indigenous. But that was it. Then no one wanted to pick up this type of work.
But my
mom couldn't even finish doing this type of work, because also she didn't have the support, and they saw her as a witch. And that was bad back in the 80s and 90s,
Yeah,
Mom was very powerful. Like, I remember, like, there's stories whenever I would see her work on people. She would pull, like ella sí sabía cómo quitar, like, brujerías and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't know how to do what she did. Supposedly that type of gift is left for you, or you inherit it once the person passes away and stuff. So I don't know how far I would grow as what I do now, but I'm not ready for that. If that was to happen, I know my oldest brother does have a gift as well, that he can see a lot more than what I do. And sometimes it's just in your blood, because a lot of us do have that indigenous background where that spirituality comes to us naturally. And you're just born with it. And a lot of people who have these like mental disorders, most of the time It's because
gifts.
they're gifts, and you're just not allowed. You don't know how to use it. You don't know how to let it flow and flourish and use it in a way where it's going to be bringing balance to you. And sometimes it's so much power that you have within you that it creates chaos because it goes against the system that we live in. Naturally, we're energy beings. I mean, everything is energy, you know. So, I mean, we're connected to nature. We're just, it's the system that also takes us away from that connection. And you see a lot of people adapting other cultures because they're looking for an answer. They're looking for that connection, right? So we naturally are born with it, you know. There's people who come in and bring their babies, and the babies are the ones who go and grab a certain stone and give it to the mom, and the mom's like, "Ya cállate, cállate, I'm talking, cállate," and I'm like, you need to listen to your child.
He's trying to tell you something.
It's, I mean, we basically have it in us when we're born, but again, it's the parents' traditions, it's the parents' education, the system education that it's, you know, takes us apart from. And it's nothing wrong with education. And I push for kids to get an education, to finish high school, to go to college, you know. I push for that. But, you know, just don't forget the roots. Don't forget your roots. Yes. And it's just like, that was the speech that Cuauhtemoc left us, you know, like, no se olviden de sus raíces, you know, because that's what keeps us grounded and it helps us find our true selves. And it's a lot of pressure on kids.
But I feel like men kind of are like just stranded out there. Like they are kind of taught like you got to be tough, you know, have emotions.
And those are things that I also help people with on the table too. It's like men also have emotions and have issues and mental worries and responsibilities,
and they feel like they can't share.
It's tough on men, you know, too. So it's just finding about, you know, balance and a lot of awareness, a lot of acknowledgement goes into play when it comes to healing, you know. And like for my son, I have to work on him too sometimes and stuff. And he loves getting worked on. He loves being pampered and everything, as he should, you know, because, you know, if you want him to feel like a king one day, you got to start treating him as one as of now, and letting him know how important his feelings are, how important his thoughts are, and making sure he finds a balance within school and practices at home as well, because he's also a danzante.
He's a busy kid,
So it's a lot on him at school. There's things that they offer him, like drugs at school and stuff, and he has to somehow also refuse that and still be like that cool cat at school. You know what I mean? Like, because he's very different. Everyone knows in his school, because my son represents, like, I'm Native American, I'm indigenous, and, you know, I am what I am, and, you know, if you don't like it, that's on you, because, you know, I've been preparing my son this since he was like 5 years old, from what I can remember. And I remember when he was a baby, like, he would naturally just know things, and instead of like scaring him and telling him no, that doesn't exist, like things that you're seeing is not right, like I would allow him to be like and I would ask him questions and have conversations with him, and then teaching him like, look, you know, and allowing to teach your children too that everything is alive too, the clouds, the movements, right, the stars, the plants, how they feel, how they absorb, how they grow, how they're still alive. Just like us, we also grow, you know. And so there's a lot of reflections in life that we still learn off of. We're still learning off of our own pets sometimes, our own animals, you know, our children teach us still. So it's just finding a balance within everything that you have with corporate work, you know, or schools, your studies, your responsibilities that you have on top of that, being the only person in your family that's the leader or the one that everyone depends on, or whatever it is that you're playing in your life in that situation, nothing stays forever. It eventually change, but just allowing yourself to go with the flow.
Yeah, the flow,
and
the change.
just allowing yourself, and just, I always think of it like this: when things get rough, like I picture myself like in a river, right? You know, there's sometimes you go on a river y te lleva el pinche canoe pa todos lados, and you're rocking and you're like, a la chingada, like, you know,
you're like, oh,
hey,
shit.
let go and just enjoy the ride.
Right.
Enjoy the ride, because eventually it'll come to a place where it's gonna be
calm.
Yeah. It's a journey for all of us, no matter what background you come from, no matter what your race is, no matter who you are. At the end of the day, we're all human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
we will have a human being experience, but we're all looking for that connection spiritually. Not all of us, right? Not all of us. Not
Right.
that atheists don't give a damn. They're like, man, I don't believe in none of that. But even though they might not believe in anything, but on the way out, they're going to believe in their body. And they're going to believe in the pain that they're going to feel, or whatever it is that
And
they're
that
going to feel,
disconnection of
because
their
that's
spirit.
life experiences that is going to teach you as well,
Yeah.
whether you believe in anything or not.
Yeah.
You know, something that I learned too from Mayan woman, that life is a spirit. It's like a like you see the snake, how it has like the wave like that, like it's alcohol, like the dragon, you know, like it's life. It's always in constant moving, and it has a lot of curves. It's never straight. You you can plan your life to be such and such and such, and maybe if you're a controlling freak, you could get that right, most of those things done, but through it you don't have control over absolutely everything.
No.
Eventually you're gonna have to learn whether it's the hard way or whether it's losing a lot of people around you because you want to be so damn controlling.
Yeah.
It teaches you that you have to let go of some certain things, and eventually, you know, that life, that dragon will start to throw obsidian spears at you at times, with people passing away around you, losing certain family, losing heartbreaks, you know, whatever it is, you know, we just never know. It's an unknown type of mysterious life in the future, because we never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Live in your moment, finding the balance within everything, and making sure you're staying grounded, humble. Humble is also a big lesson. Staying humble, because eventually something will humble you down.
Oh.
And my thing with time is like, I don't, and people hate me for this.
But I think it's beautiful too. It's so beautiful.
People hate me for this because, like, the way I see time is like, it's very important, right? It's very important. That's like, for me, time is the most valuable thing we have in life. Like, that's the most valuable thing we have, because how do they punish us when we do something wrong?
Put you in jail and take away your time. Yeah.
That's the highest way they can punish us, unless they, you know,
Unless
put
they
us to
kill
sleep.
you, yeah.
And that's also taking your time away from being on
Yeah.
earth, right? So time is the most valuable thing, but time has its own spirit and its own magic in its way, right?
Oh, time.
So when you allow yourself to just understand the full definition of what is time, and allowing time to just be its time, then eventually you'll learn how to flow with it. Like, I'm never on time. Like, I'm never, like, I have a thing with time. But it's like, man, it's part of, like, letting go of control.
Yes.
And it's also man-made in a way, too. So allowing time to just be time and not rush things. Just enjoy your time.
Like, why
let go a little bit.
Why be frustrated in the moment when you can just be in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
I was running late and I was like really anxious. I was like,
Right.
oh crap, I don't want to be late.
And
you know?
then you end up having an accident because you're so like, I gotta be there on time. I gotta be there on time. Well, there goes money for the insurance people. There goes money for, you know, because así te traen del puro pinche calzón and chingas, you know, like, and it's like, it shouldn't be like that, because even putting your mind into that, it's causing so much stress on you.
On your nervous system.
Your nervous
your
system,
body.
and that's why people are restless, because they're running their body as soon as they get up from the bed. that by the time they get in bed at night, they're like, their mind cannot be shut off really quickly,
because it's
especially if you're someone like that all the time, all the time. It's hard for you to kind of allow yourself to break and have a break and be like, I need some time for myself. So everything's a habit. Everything can become an addiction. Everything can become a habit. So it's just knowing what are those things that unbalance you, so that you can kind of take a different approach to it, and then colorín colorado.
Everything's happening. But I want to switch gears a little bit and kind of switch into getting to know you guys on a little bit of a deeper level.
Getting to know you.
So like we're gonna get to know a little bit about energy and Kenya.
Okay.
Hi. So the first question is, what was the best advice you received so far in your life? Like about anything?
Something that a medicine man told me one time in a peyote ceremony was just stay humble, and I kept those words really close to me, and it's taught me a lot. It teaches me to have better connections with people, and being humble doesn't necessarily mean that you're putting yourself down or under anyone else, but just knowing that you're open to be there for other people, and not only for other people, but knowing that you could be there for yourself too, and also for the ones around you that you love, like your mom, your dad, your kids. A lot of us, we play these big roles of being the mom or being the parent and stuff, so you play that part, and sometimes you play that part too damn well, and sometimes kids have to see us vulnerable too, and allow them to see that we're also human, and that we also fear things, and that we, at the end of the day, we're here all together trying to help each other out.
Yeah, definitely. And what about you?
Okay, so I think I have two. It's from my mom and my sister. So my mom always has these sayings. And so she'll be like, when I leave, she'll be like, don't take any wooden nickels. And I'm like, Mom, what do you mean? What are wooden nickels? And so,
like the fakeness of things?
Yeah. She'll be like, so don't just like, if you see something, like, don't just take it for what it is. Like, it's kind of like, it's kind of teaching us to be not weary of the world, but don't just take whatever somebody is like putting out to you. Exactly. So my sister, she taught me that you can't always expect people to treat you how you would treat them, even though they say like treat people how you want to be treated. But she kind of she kind of made me realize, she was like,
not true.
The way our household was growing up, not everybody may have been grown up that same way in their household. So the morals that mom has taught you, maybe that person didn't have someone to lead them.
Not having expectations.
Basically.
Yes.
Especially in relationships, a lot of people do expect a lot in relationships, and instead of vocalizing it and understanding what you want or what you need and laying it out on the piece of paper, saying, well, what are the things that you like or whatever it is, we expect them to be a certain way or something like that, and it doesn't work out, y'all yelling at each other, and
and then there's nothing's resolved.
Nothing. And then you go to the next relationship, is the same thing, because you're still holding some type of expectations.
Exactly. What's your favorite medicinal plant that you like to use on yourself or others?
I have a few. I can't just say one. One that I even just had to get some tattoos of some herbs, because like that has been really, since growing up, one of the first plants that I could remember that my mom taught me about was ruda. That's one of the plants that I grew up knowing about, especially when it came to like birth control.
Yeah.
That didn't work. That didn't work for me. Sage and shrooms and peyote. I think peyote is my favorite medicine that I use for
Like
my
insect-
ceremonies.
Nice.
For sure. Yeah, I just got it tattooed on me too. You know, things like that. I learned a little bit about pirul and copal. Copal is also a really special herb for me.
So you use all these in conjunction to like to keep the balance within yourself.
For myself.
How much?
Don't try this at home, guys, please.
Right. Yeah, because
Do
right.
not
'cause-
try this at home. A lot of people do these type of things at home to experience.
in a safe place.
And there's some people who want to try it to experience like a spiritual experience, but I think it'll come to you when it's time.
Yeah.
Even that. I mean, sometimes you have to dig deep in order for that to happen.
Yeah, and have
Because
that
it'll come to
awareness.
you. You don't have to go out looking for it. Yeah, definitely it's a different experience when you actually allow it to come to you than for you to get out of your way to go look for it because, I heard on the podcast that they took peyote.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to go get some. Like,
No, these are things that you, with any medicine you have to be. careful.
And that's with anything in life. It's like, let it come to you. You don't have to go out and get it.
It goes back to the same thing, being humble and just keep walking your path and allowing it to come to you, letting time bring it to you.
I met this beautiful medicine. I wasn't going out to search for it. She just dropped it in my lap, but I was like, okay.
Yeah, for sure. And what other medicinal plants do you incorporate?
I am a mushroom girly. I do respect it very fully. And if you didn't know, it originated in Mexico. Maria Sabina is the one.
Yes, yeah.
She passed away.
Yeah.
I would say mushrooms, cannabis, weed, which is, I feel like because even with that, you have to still set your intentions.
Yes.
Because I feel like if you don't, you can still kind of spiral. So I try to.
It could also be an addiction too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eventually, you'll need to
Addicting.
depend on it.
Mhm.
Even with food, you can depend on food. Like it's just finding the balance. with
Yeah.
it.
For sure.
I would say green tea,
Ooh,
aloe vera.
that's my
Aloe vera
favorite.
girly.
Yeah, in the time that you guys have traveled and things like that, what's your favorite place that you visited?
I don't have a favorite place.
Not yet. Maybe when-
California.
I love Texas. Like I can probably travel all over the world, but I don't think I would want to move out of Texas. I know it sounds weird.
No, I dig it. I'm right there.
Because I don't know,
Yeah.
I feel like Texas is my shit. It's country, like you can, like there's land here for
There
days.
is.
I don't know. There's a lot of places I do want to travel to. I mean,
Well-
I want to go to Oaxaca. Oaxaca's always been a place
Yes.
that has been calling me because I have Zapotec blood. They originated out from Oaxaca, where like the Olmecas come from, where they have all the heads from the Olmecas there, near that area. So, but a lot of people are like, "Do know if you're Zapoteca, you're from Oaxaca?" And I'm like, "No, los Zapotecas they traveled and they're all the way to Guerrero, and that's where like my folks are from." So I don't know if that's why it's always called me. Like
Maybe.
to go to Oaxaca. Yeah, that's a place I would want to go to. And also, like, this is so random, Thailand.
Me too.
I want to go to
Dude.
Thailand because I've worked with Thai people before, and I was able to like learn a lot from their culture. They're like straight up like Mexicans but crazier. No, I'm just kidding. Like they're more like wild,
Shorter.
like shorter, crazier, fun. Like they're cool people, man. And I would definitely. I have a Thai mom like that adopted me from work, and like she lives over there, and so I have a place I can go visit over there. I just need the money, but yeah, Thailand is definitely a place because of their food. Like I'm a big foodie. I love food. I love to eat. I love to try. We just met this lady from Kenya. She's from actual Kenya, and she tripped out knowing that her name was Kenya. So I was like, "This is the spot for you, baby girl. You didn't even know. You didn't even know this was the place for you."
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So we going over there for
place.
some fufu.
So she told us she cooks that food. I said, "Okay, me and you, we're gonna have to go bother her one of these days."
And she said we could.
Wait, she has like a kitchen, or it's just at her
No,
house?
she has her house and she cooks all that food. I'm like, ooh, I've seen it on social media, but I've never tried it. So
Ethiopian food.
Oh, their coffee.
okay, y'all are making me hungry.
So with that, what was your favorite place to visit it?
Believe it or not, Arkansas. Arkansas
Really?
is so beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen it's really
like
I heard it.
all the national parks, all the state parks are free. They are beautiful.
Wow.
I've gone canoeing out there. Like, Arkansas is such a beautiful place. So I definitely love Arkansas. But my dream place I want to go to is Portugal.
Ooh,
I want to go to Portugal.
yeah,
I want to move to Portugal.
Oh, put it out there. I'm moving to Portugal.
Move to Portugal.
eventually.
Or Costa Rica, whichever one comes first.
Right? Costa
Yeah, there's a
Rica.
lot of traveling I want to get done, man, for sure.
I really want to thank you guys for doing this with me, and just I'm always learning with you guys every time I come, you know. And we're gonna keep doing this because like I love having conversations with you ladies, having kind of like a panel discussion. And I bet you next time we come, we're gonna have already another
Something
person.
else.
Like, you know?
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, cool. Man.
Toodles.
Bye. Bye.
Remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, you can find us under Finding the Healer Within, and Instagram at Finding the Healer Within 432. See you around the fire.